We feel your loss every minute of every day. We will forever wonder how your lives would have turned out.
Anthony Walgate, Gabriel Cavari, Daniel Whitworth, Jack Taylor. They were all young gay men in their early 20s when Stephen Port raped and murdered them. A serial killer who an inquest found today could have been caught sooner and stopped had it not been for the Metropolitan Police's failures and missed opportunities. Today, the families of those young men said they felt vindicated but furious.
We are incensed by the police's successful attempts to prevent the jury from examining whether prejudice played any part in the police's actions. The coroner did not rule that the police were not homophobic, and our position remains unchanged. Based on the treatment we received, our firmly held belief is that the Metropolitan Police's actions were, in part, driven by homophobia. Had 4 white heterosexual girls been found in the same manner as Anthony, Gabriel, Daniel and Jack, then the police's actions and the likely outcomes would have been different.
The first of those murders was in June 2014. Anthony Walgate was a fashion student who occasionally worked as an escort. Using an alias, Stephen Port arranged for him to visit his flat in East London. There he drugged the 23-year-old with GHB before raping and murdering him. Port then left his body on the pavement outside his one-bedroom flat and called an ambulance himself. He was even later arrested and jailed in 2015 for lying about how he knew the deceased. At this stage, police were still treating the death as non-suspicious. Anthony's dad, Thomas Walgate, told us the police investigation was flawed from the start.
I was saying to him, who the hell drags a body out of a flat? Dead body, and then goes and gets back in bed. What normal person would do that? And they says to me, well, perhaps he's not a normal person. Bingo, perhaps he's not. Well, he wasn't, he isn't. Believed every word that Port told him, even when he lied and kept changing his story all the time. They believed him and believed him.
Just months after killing Anthony Walgate and still undetected by the police, Stephen Port would go on to kill his next victim. Today, the jury was unanimous in finding had basic police errors not been made when investigating Anthony Walgate's death, the other young men would probably still be alive today. In a 16-month killing spree between 2014 and 2015, the serial killer followed a formula, first meeting young gay men on dating app Grindr before giving them fatal overdoses of the drug GHB, raping and murdering them. Today, the Metropolitan Police said they were deeply sorry that their officers had not linked the murders, but denied their failure was driven by homophobia. By your own admission, your officers failed to spot a serial killer. Can you say confidently that there was absolutely no homophobia involved in the mishandling of those cases?
I don't think the Met is institutionally homophobic, and I don't think that my colleagues are homophobic as well. I don't think that that has been an issue in these investigations.
If it wasn't inherent homophobia that was at the centre of the mishandling of these cases, what was it?
It was a range of different mistakes, leads that weren't followed, curiosity that perhaps wasn't quite there, things that weren't tied up and understood to be contributing. A serial killer who today the jury found was allowed to carry out strikingly similar murders while police failed to spot the signs. In 2016, Stephen Port was given a whole life sentence and will die in prison, while none of his victims lived to see their 30th birthdays. And families like Anthony Walgate's are left wondering what life would have brought for these young men.
He was a nice boy. He just wanted fun in his life. God, we all miss him absolutely terribly, you know. It's just such a shame, and it's so sad that his life's cut so short through one guy who was a killer.